My OM642 Mercedes Sprinter Diesel 3.0 CRD is dying, and it's time for a fuel filter change. And I hope it fixes the problem. Okay, so we're going to change this fuel filter in this thing, and I think to myself, if you can pay somebody else to do it, you can do it too. I know you don't know me, but my name's Clay with YouTube, The Clay Way here in Grand Rapids, Western Michigan, and my philosophy is if you got to pay somebody $200 or $300 to do something for you, plus the additional price of whatever parts they're installing, because most of them won't install their own parts, and let's say that bill works out to $500 or $600, well, you saved yourself $500 or $600 by doing it yourself. We just need to loosen this up, which I already loosened mine up. Over here, you're going to push in on the little latch right here, which is going to allow you to pull that up. Grab one of these, pull up pretty hard. Now, I don't think you need to know too much about actually changing this thing. Just be careful with your mass airflow sensor down there. But I do know that you do not want to remove this under any circumstance until you get your fuel filter out. You're going to follow this water line, which is normally going to be held down by a bolt right here, which mine is missing. That's going to be secured down by an 8mm or E10 bolt. And it's simple to see when you follow the little hose. I was contemplating a dad joke after I said the word hose, but I'll leave that for later. That sensor on the top of that fuel filter is the water fuel separator sensor, and it drains out through the top. But there's a lot of pressure behind it, and oftentimes people will break them because they want to remove it. But in all actuality, you should not remove it at this moment until you get the whole fuel filter out. But people try anyway, and they bust them off at the top. So we're going to try to avoid doing that. Maybe later. We'll see. What a strange noise for a human to make. Then it's going to be held on by 3 screws around here, 8mm screws. If it has these right here, we're going to take wire cutters and we're going to twist them and cut them. You actually don't cut them at all. You just twist them and they will break. Cutting through stainless steel with wire cutters or side cutters, probably going to dull them out pretty good. Once you get this one off, you should be able to pull this off. Yours might be stationed to where it goes like this. That's not important. Just don't break this off of here. I've had a lot of these in the shop that had these zip tied to the top, and they blow off because they're broken in such a way that you would need to replace this whole sensor. But I'm going to show you how to get this sensor out. First, I'm going to grab some wire cutters and cut this off. If you want to replace these, you can replace them with high pressure hose clamps if you don't have the ones like me. So don't confuse these with the braided type of high pressure clamps. We definitely do not want to use this style in this application. These clamps will clamp securely around the hose, allowing it to have even pressure all the way around. Usually this is going to be tight and not spin around like mine. But clearly I've taken this apart and I didn't put it together properly. You could also hold on to the fuel filter when you're not holding on to the actual camera, which would have made it a little bit easier for me to get these clamps off. This little thing is held on by this rocker, and as you pull up on that rocker, it releases that tab, which is hooked into here. And if you can't get it to push off of here, push down on the rocker, push this way, and you should hear it click, and then you'll be able to pull it off sharply so it doesn't hang up on that tab there. Put that in your old spank bank. That's a good way to get electrical connectors off. I've seen so many electrical connectors that are broken, and all you really have to do is push down on the rocker and push it in the opposing direction so that little rocker flips up. Good information to know anytime you're working on any type of vehicle. Like I said, there's 3 bolts securing this down. There's also a bolt right here that you could loosen, and that would allow you to pull the whole fuel filter out of the holder. If this tube gets in your way, this just goes to the brake booster, and it's kind of difficult to pull out, but it just pulls straight out. So you would pull off this vacuum line, which helps control your interior door blend, your air conditioning heater door blend things, and you would pull that out. And if you don't get that noise that occurs, that means that you have a bad brake booster, but that's for a different video. So now we're just going to take this inside, and what we should be able to do, hopefully, because sometimes they don't, is we should be able to remove these 2 screws, turn this sensor, which is going to be clockwise because the little hooks are on there, and pull this out of here. That's the difficult part. Getting this sensor out of here without breaking it can be a pain in the butt, but we're going to work it softly with the screwdriver and work it around to pop it out. So hopefully we only have to change the fuel filter itself. I don't know if this will make it to the video, but I wanted to see if it would drain out. I don't know if this is the problem. We're going to change it anyways because I know it's been well over 100,000 miles since I have. The issue in an upcoming video is that my Sprinter van is dying at stoplights. Not running very well, doing stuff, but I don't have a check engine light. So I'm going to point out the things that are caused in vehicles that don't have check engine lights. And ultimately, we're going to lead down the road of it being mechanical and being a failure due to a mechanical thing that's not measured by sensors and stuff that everybody thinks tells you what's wrong with the car, because sensors don't tell you what's wrong with the car. A computer allows an engine to run, not necessarily makes it run. It'll make sense when you see the whole video. It's pretty cool. And if you haven't took a look at my channel yet, you may not know that I am a wizard with Sprinters, or at least I'm able to edit out all the bad parts, things that I fuck up on them. So check out my Everything You Need to Know Sprinter playlist. You're going to see there's some beast stuff that nobody on YouTube actually does. You're supposed to be able to remove the 2 screws that hold the sensor down to the top of the fuel filter, but oftentimes once you remove them, you still can't spin it. So what I'll do is, because I'm replacing the fuel filter anyway, I just bend the tabs up. Then that allows me to move it back and forth. Prior to bending up the tabs, I will take a screwdriver and put it behind the block and then spin it counterclockwise to be able to release it. If that doesn't work, then I'll bend the tabs up like I shown. Now don't go all gorilla on this thing once you get it turned, but you can get a screwdriver to work underneath the plastic bits to raise it up incrementally as you pull it out of its spot. Don't be afraid to bend them up, because we're going to get that stinking sensor out of there one way or another. But this allows you to move it back and forth as you pull up on it. When you go to dump this out, make sure you dump it inside a container. Now, it should quite simply, I worked it around a bit. Now I can pull it right out. Now I'll take my new filter and I'll put one down in the comments below if you ever want to help my channel grow. Subscribe, click, share, give me them thumbs up, and tell me your crappy comments about how my videos suck. But if you really want to help the channel, I'll make a couple 4 or 5 cents if you go down in the use my Amazon links to buy stuff. But anyways, so now I'm going to make sure that this is the same height, everything, because of course I bought the cheapest filter I could possibly buy. Now a lot of filters are going to come with new O-rings and stuff. I'm not using that because I'm a cheap mofo. And I'm trying to keep that money in my prison purse. All right, you feel me? You dig? All right. Now we can go ahead and insert this in here and then put our screws back in there. This is actually works better than most of them that I've ever found. You could feel it click down, it's seated, and we can turn it and click it into there, and we'll be done with this job in a couple moments. Now we can put our screws back in. Now I have the correct factory style clamps. They're called single ear clamps, and they're one-time use clamps, but you can use a high pressure hose clamp. The only problem is the screws that come off the high pressure hose clamp run into one another because the distance between the two lines isn't really that great. These are really simple to use. You actually have a tool like this or a flat pair of pliers that often come with them when you buy them. These are 15.3, just in case I hadn't already said it. Now I just put that thing in its place, and I clamp the lines down and plug the little sensor in, and we should be good to go. We're going to need to cycle the key 3 or 4 times prior to starting the engine because it needs to fill up with fuel. Now I've tightened these down and they're secure on there. Just plug this in. We'll secure all the other screws and everything down here in a minute. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever noticed this, but on your dash, on these older Mercedes, there's a triangle that comes up right there. What I always do is when I start my van up in the morning time, I always run the key 3 times and turn that light off. It helps with hard starts and not to drag my battery down when I'm starting it. I've actually done this like 5 or 6 times now. Now we can test drive it and see if the problem is solved or if I still got another problem, which is also possible. The real question is, did that actually fix my problem? Well, you'll have to see that in another video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing, clicking the notification, sharing my videos, and giving me those sweet-ass thumbs up. You can make a crappy comment down below. If you've got a question for me, you can hit me up on Clay's AC and Auto Repair over the Facebook Messenger. I answer them for absolutely free. I cannot help you with your baby mama drama. For the last time, quit fucking telling me this stuff. I just make YouTube videos. I'm not, I've been with my wife for 32 years or a long time. I don't know, and I'm good, but I'm not great at anything. Decent. Anyway. Moving on, remember, no matter what it is that anyone else can do, you can do it too. Don't be the next of them, be the first of you. God bless, folks. Have the greatest of days.